There is huge news coming from the founder and CEO of Airbnb, Brian Chesky. Now, Business Insider did an interview with him just a few days ago, and he mentioned one thing that totally took me by surprise. And I want to quote directly from his interview. He said he suggested Airbnb could start hosting dining pop-ups and that car rentals would be the next thing for the company to tackle. So I was absolutely so taken aback when I read this because for many years now, I have known so many Airbnb hosts or Turo hosts who are combining both services because, of course, it is a very natural fit. And it is no surprise now that Airbnb is finally going to take the move of taking on car rentals, especially coming directly from the founder and CEO. So this is a pretty big game changer in the industry, in my opinion. Now, going through this article, there was a few things that really stood out to me, and then that really kind of prompted me to take a step back and get a better understanding for what is going on in the broader industry and what this could mean for host on the Turo platform, host on the Airbnb platform, and what could we sort of anticipate in the future. Now, why are they getting into the car rental business, right? Seems like kind of two separate things, but there might actually be a nice harmony to offering both services. Now, in my opinion, I actually think it's kind of smart on Airbnb's end because if a host is hosting a property on the platform, well, they most likely also have a vehicle at their disposal that they could potentially pair up with their listing and offer that to a guest that might be coming into town. And of course, people coming into town typically do rent a car. So it seems like there is a really nice synergy by offering those two services or those two things that people might need while they are traveling. Now, there are already so many hosts that have really put these two services together and already offer it to their guests. Whether you're a Turo host or an Airbnb host, many of you are already doing that. So why not get it all under one umbrella and offer it to your guests that are coming in, which provides another added value and income stream for the people who are hosting on these platforms. So I think what's really fascinating about what's happening in this environment is now we know Uber is getting into car sharing. So they are really kind of going after the Turo market. Airbnb is looking to tap into it. And then, of course, there are so many other competitors. But what I've noticed overall with these digital platforms, especially in this last year or so, is there is sort of, the word I would use is cannibalism happening, right? So we're going to use our social media platforms as an example to kind of grasp really what I'm talking about. So we have Twitter, right? Or x.com. We have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, and we have the major rise of TikTok. Now, TikTok really introduced short form content and really zippy content that you can get through within seconds and you move on to the next. And as soon as that took off, you immediately saw all these other platforms really incorporate short form videos. On Instagram, we have Reels, and on YouTube, we have Shorts. And so they're all incorporating that as a part of their platform because they don't want to miss out on that piece of the pie. Now, same thing is happening across all other facets, right? YouTube is really great for long form. We have podcasting apps like Spotify or Apple Podcast. Now we see Twitter or x.com really getting into that space as well, right? They're really heavily promoting long form videos on their platform. Then we have LinkedIn, which is notorious for job posting. That is the central location that you go where businesses can post jobs and people who are looking for jobs can find openings. Well, now you see Twitter or x.com getting into that space and now offering job listings. And so we're seeing a lot of this happen. And I think that there are many reasons as to why it's happening, but it's kind of really hard to distill down to exactly why these platforms have to cannibalize every area that they can. And I think the answer really comes down to capitalism, right? If there are many verticals of being able to make money and over time things become really competitive in terms of pricing and earnings because you have more supply, you have more demand, there's more creators coming into the space, then it starts to reach what we call perfect competition in economics, right? Prices come down, there's more people in the space, and it becomes saturated. So you really, as a platform, platform have to open up more verticals in order to attract more people, attract more ad dollars, and attract more ways of creating cash flow. So when I look at Turo and I look at Airbnb and some of these other platforms like Uber, you can see them doing the exact same strategy. In order to survive and to tap into new growth opportunities, they have to add new verticals to their business, right? So Airbnb will now get into car sharing. They might get into pop-up dining. With Uber recently just announcing now they do package pickup so that they can do your returns for you. They're going to also get into car sharing, just a number of services that continue to open up. So with that said, I'm really curious to see in the future what Turo might add to the platform, especially when they are going to, in a sense, get attacked by so much competition from major players, right? Uber, Airbnb, these are not your average startups who are coming into the space and trying to compete and may not stand a chance because Turo has such a large market share. These are major players who have huge distribution because they already have really strong platforms and really strong network effects that they can just tap right into and say, hey, hosts that are already on Airbnb, or hey, drivers that are already on Uber, guess what? Here's one more way that you can make money by listing your car. You can now rent it out, and it's going to create another income opportunity for you. So I think it is really kind of very wild out there right now that they are so intensely competing with each other. And as hosts, it is interesting because then you have more opportunity in the sense that you can go on multiple platforms, and the platform that gives you the most value, you are more inclined to, list there and compete there. But that also means that over time, there is going to be a lot of price stabilization that enters these markets because there is so much supply. There are so many people who have cars that can list across all app platforms, and the people who want to rent, well, now they have a lot of optionality, which typically means that prices tend to come down and you reach perfect competition across the platforms, and then it becomes harder to gain margins out of that business. So it has its pros and cons in that sense, but major news coming out, I think is very interesting to follow. I'm going to continue to keep you guys posted. Now, I recently made a video about the announcement that Uber made, and they should be launching by the end of 2023, so I'll keep you guys posted, and that's going to be in North America, starting with Boston. But you can check out that video right here so you can get the full details on it. And comment below, let me know what you think about some of these changes and how it might affect the business.